Hello everybody and welcome. I've decided to switch to a new way of making the videos using Keynote and capturing the images just because I want to be more efficient and finish this course faster. Instead of using Final Cut Pro, doing the layers and moving items around, this is just going to be faster. This time I'm going to cover how to build tunnels between the Cisco RV120 and the RV180. They are very different from each other, have a very different interface. The choices of labeling and configuration places are not very obvious as well. And took me many attempts to really figure out how it works. So here I'm just going to describe it for you. Our first example covers two locations. One has a fixed IP RV032 device and the second one has a standard dynamic IP RV180 device. To understand what's going on here, you're gonna need to watch my previous video where I describe the whole interface of the devices, so you know where the screens I'm talking about here are. Go there, it's an interesting video. I walk through the whole interface of both the RV042 and the RV180. So, initially on the RV042, since it's a fixed IP location, the local security gateway type is going to be IP only. Of course, I put my local subnet here, and remote security gateway is going to be also IP only. But the IP is going to be resolved by DNS, and it's updated dynamically by the no IP clients. And on the RV120 side, you need to enter a policy name because the policies are in different screens. The remote endpoint is IP, and I just here enter the remote IP. I could switch it with FQDN and use the DNS resolution for my fixed IP location, but the setup was more reliable this way. NetBIOS broadcast is gonna come on another screen. So totally different configuration. This is the advanced screen on the RV042. And down here then we have the subnets, just the opposite of the previous one, as always. The identifier, and that is the local security whatever on the RV042, is set here together with the policy. And you have here local IP and remote IP just because that's what we configured in the other screen. And here on the RV042 side, this is incorporated together with the resolution of the physical IP destination. It's really hard to understand because the approach used to build this configuration on both devices is completely different. So it was very hard to put all of this together when I was configuring, and I still find it very difficult to explain. Sorry about that. As shown before, NetBIOS broadcast on the RV120 is enabled together with the policy there, and you have to enable it on the advanced settings on the RV042 side. Now to configure Keep Alive and the direction of the tunnel initiation. Well, here's where you see very well highlighted the differences in philosophy. So Keep Alive on the RV042 means that the RV042 is going to try to reinitiate the connection every time the tunnel drops. Meaning that this is the one initiating the connection. So on the RV120 you need to set the direction as responder. What happened before with me, I was really struggling. I thought, well, if the tunnel drops, I want both ends to try to reconnect, and whichever gets online first will just initiate the connection. But that was generating collisions during the time the tunnel is set up. And now I have Keep Alive set in only one end of the tunnels when I have two RV042s. And here, when I have one RV042 and one RV120, if I would have the RV120 set to initiate, that would make it having like keep alive enabled. Yeah. So I could swap the direction here. I could make the RV120 the initiator and disable keep alive on the RV042. When you have two RV042s, if you disable keep alive on both of them, it means that the tunnel is not going to be connected anyhow. You have to really go to the interface and click connect. Again, to see how this is done, you have to go to my previous video. On the RV120, the policy parameters for encryption and the internet interkey whatever exchange configuration are in different screens. So you have to create a policy and then assign the parameters to the policy on a separate screen. On the RV042, they are both on the same screen. So here you can see the keying mode, phase 1 group, and etc. be on the top part, and that matches the IP ESA parameters on the RV120. And down here, perfect forward secrecy and the lifetime of phase 2 and etc. they all go on the bottom. And on the RV120, you see that I have to match the policy using the drop down menu. So I create the policy in one screen and assign the parameters on the second screen. It's a very, very clumsy system, and it makes really hard to build tunnels when the devices are different, and I couldn't find the proper documentation anywhere. So here, you have here months of trial and error. And of course it seems obvious now that it's all on the same screen. On the XM2, I have the more common situation you may find, that is two sites with dynamic IPs. So initially here, I put it another way. Let's see if it's better to understand. So location A with the RV120 is the responder again, and it is using DNS resolution for the remote one identifier. And on the right side, you see the dynamic IP RV42, everything set IP only using IP by DNS resolved down here. And since the RV120 is a responder, again, we have on the RV042 keep alive enabled, so it will initiate the tunnel without any intervention. Again, here you have a comparison of the security settings of both RV042 and RV120. In different screens, you have to select the policy just as I showed before. Here we have a very important difference between the RV042 and the RV120 when we are building tunnels. On the RV042, if you use your dynamic IP plus FQDN name as identifier, the remote RV042 trusts it. If you tell you are Microsoft.com and the other RV042 is expecting Microsoft.com, the remote RV042 is not going to try to resolve and confirm that your name is matching your IP. Here was a part of my struggle. When you set the remote endpoint as FQDN and you put a valid FQDN external DNS blah 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 name here on the RV120, when the connection is established, it's gonna try to resolve this name, and this name has to match the IP that you set on the RV042. Very important. And on the bottom, well, NetBIOS is on another screen, and you have the reverse subnet, so you know the traffic is routed correctly. And to finalize, on the left side, the RV120 NetBIOS broadcast through the tunnel is enabled, and on the RV042 it is part of the advanced settings, NetBIOS broadcast ticked, highlighted, all set. Well, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.